Hello, I'm Robert Priest, Art Design Cafe, and this is an add-on to the section discussing Elza Temary and Emily Hall Tremaine. There are three additional things I'd like to put forward to give details of certain things. First has to do, I'm going to give the list of names in the assassination plot for this, and I'll read it and then maybe comment. And then I'm going to go on to a newspaper clipping, which I suspect refers to Emily in relation to Leopold McLaglen, and then some declassified intelligence out of London at the American Embassy. All right, I'm referring to Hitler in Los Angeles, How Jews Foiled Nazi Plots Against Hollywood and America, page 205. Subtitle Death Plot. Several days after revealing his plans to expose Jewish interference in the military, McLaglen invited Alexander Allen and Slocum to celebrate his favorite restaurant, the House of O'Sullivan. Then further on, promising to use the money he received from Chancellor to pay for the hitmen, McLaglen began compiling with his friends a list of people they would kill. All right, and then these were the following names. One of these, Slocum, is a spy for the Jewish-led group in Los Angeles. So Slocum sent the following 24 names to Leon Lewis and Joe Rose, which included some of the most famous people in the world: Jack Benny, Herbert Biberman, James Cagney, Eddie Cantor, Charles Chaplin, Emmanuel Cohen, Sam Goldwyn, Henry Herbbrun, Al Jolson, Leon Lewis, Fredric March, Louis B. Mayer, Paul Muni, Joseph Schenk, B.P. Schulberg, Mendel Silberberg, Franchon Simon, Donald Ogden Stewart, Gloria Stuart, Sylvia Sydney, Ernst Toller, Walter Winchell, Marco Wolf, and William Wyler. I understand that 22 of these people are Jewish, and 2, Cagney and Chaplin, are friendly, or were friendly with Jewish people at the time. Now, over on page 2011, the assassination plot, as I understand it, was, in terms of the media and also the legal situation, separate. So the assassination plot, I don't believe ever made it to court. But going on to page 211, over the next 2 weeks, the DA's office succeeded in keeping the assassination plot out of the press. That changed on November 15th, when a Los Angeles Herald Express headline announced, quote, "Plot to massacre rich LA Jews probed," end quote. A, quote, "so-called plot for the wholesale massacre of a list of wealthy and prominent Jews, including Louis B. Mayer, Eddie Cantor, and others, was revealed today to be under investigation by the district attorney and the sheriff's office. An execution list that contained the target names was currently in possession of the Anti-Defamation League." So I haven't. These are. They'd have to be ordered out of the LA library. These papers, because I don't have access to them, and so it's Los Angeles Herald Express, and then also a couple of other sources for that. What I do have access to is a Los Angeles Times column, 17th November 1937, page 2, by Chapin Hall, What Goes On. And he sort of dismisses it in his column. It's just a second section, the second section. Nazi goblins make shivers. Somehow the businessmen of marking for death prominent Jews connected with the motion picture industry doesn't ring very true. Sounds too much like one of Hollywood's mystery dramas, with ghostly arms and hands protruding from the dark closets and bodies of ladies and gents who have been done in, dropping out of unexpected places. That the Southland is overrun with thousands of anti-Semitic Nazi agitators slinking about the street, carrying bombs with lighted fuses, ready to blow up prominent citizens, is laying it on a bit thick. No doubt some of the victims, quotes around that, are scared more or less stiff, but the whole business seems a good deal like a Halloween doorbell ringing expedition by a group of mischievous boys. However, it is the kind of stuff that delights city editors and is a swell assignment for police investigators. Gets them in on the sets as well as page one of the newspapers. This country may be pretty far gone in some respects, but it is not quite ready to acclaim Herr Hitler as its Lord of Lords. So that's sort of a dismissive response. And, okay, so, yeah. All right, so he dismisses it for that. The list is, if you go into Hitler in L.A., that's based on the Jewish-led spy group reports, and then you see it spilling out in the press for this. I don't think it necessarily names McLaglen in it. It has a bit of twists and turns as these things, as we see, do. All right, now moving to the second bit that I have. All right, so the trial is underway. We're now up to March 1938, 14th report. And this is interesting. It's also an argument to do a wider search on reporting of really a case out of anywhere, particularly when you see wire service like United Press or Associated Press. This is a one-off that I found in Knoxville in the indices by searching, and this is out of the LA case. So it's United Press, UP, Los Angeles, by Leo Barron. And, that's also the state of digitization. More copies of this in other places may pop up. But for some reason, they picked it up and the others didn't. But then also, as we know, with digitization, it depends on, sometimes the spelling, they don't catch the words. So you've got to really get at the articles, you've got to search about 4 different things because you're dealing with an imperfect state of digitization. So this is the title, and this is where Emily comes in, or potentially, probably. Leopold McLaglen explodes when asked if he ever, quote, rubbed the Baroness's back or called her strumpet, end quote. And then here's an excerpt that I pulled. McLaglen exploded when he was asked if he ever rubbed a lady's back as a gesture of social ability. The lady was a baroness who supposedly lured him into her bedroom, but McLaglen branded it all a lie, and part of the frame-up, quotes around that, he contends, is behind his prosecution on attempted extortion charges. He was convicted Saturday of trying to, quote, shake down, end quote, a former wealthy employer. That's Philip Chancellor. The business of the Baroness and her ticklish back cropped up as Deputy District Attorney Vernon Ferguson was taking Leopold over the jumps in rebuttal testimony. He was asking him about a purported conversation allegedly overheard on a dictograph machine between McLaglen and Stanley Glim, secretary to Philip Chancellor, his former boss. Did you say the Baroness von Romberg? No, it says, did you say the Baroness von ... was a little strumpet? Mr. Ferguson asked. So they're not identifying it. Is it Baroness von Romberg, Emily, or another Baroness I'm unaware of? Continuing, Leopold turned red like a tomato. I'm a gentleman, he shouted hoarsely. I don't talk that way. Did you say she tried to get me to go to bed with her on the pretense of rubbing her back? She closed the bedroom door. You opened it again and laughed. It was too... I opened it again. She closed the bedroom door. I opened it again and left. It was too disgusting. Did you say that? Persisted the prosecutor. Leopold's face turned from tomato to beet red. His massive frame shook with rage. The spectators tittered, meaning giggled. It's a lie, he bellowed. I never said that or anything like it. So that's interesting because this may be Emily, and it means that she's was around him. We don't know if she was a witness in the case concerning this or anything else, and that would be found in the court record. Moving on to the third extra bit. This was sent by a colleague. It's declassified intelligence out of the U.S. Department of State. Dated 24 September 1938. The Foreign Service of the United States of America, American Embassy, London. And I'll read out to you. So, all right. So Leopold McLaglen has been, he's gone back to Britain. So now it's, I think it was April that he left. So it's now September. Memorandum. A certain Captain Leo McLaglen, brother of the film star Victor McLaglen, who is a British subject by birth, but has apparently resided for some time in the United States, is claiming in England that he formerly worked for the Naval Intelligence Department in the United States, but left after a, quote, spot of bother, end quote. He is now attempting to get similar work in Great Britain and claims a knowledge of German espionage activities, but from his rather boastful statements, it would seem that very little credence could be attached to anything that he says. Our friends would be most grateful for any information which we could let them have as to his bona fides. All right, so this is interesting because the case was on wire services and reported across the United States at least, and yet they have no information. So that's interesting that that he could be in the papers and they just have no clue for that. So it has to do with just how information is set up, to find out what was going on even just weeks, months earlier for that, and that they don't have clear access to that, or they don't have indexes of newspapers to pull his name or anything, which is a little strange if maybe because it's in another country, but there are clipping agencies, for example, so there is that, they could clip papers and make files. So let's just assume it's because it's in another country and they want to know what they have on file. So there's a reply. It's not clear where it comes from, but it has a series of codes. So that could be found out. It's probably maybe some central, like the State Department office in Washington. So there's a reply on October 6, 1938. So that's 12 days later. Okay, reference is made to the memorandum. And then it says, Mr. McLaglen was never connected in any capacity with the U.S. Navy. It is believed that in the course of his employment by Mr. Philip Chancellor, a lieutenant junior grade in the Naval Reserve, Mr. McLaglen had access to certain inconsequential data received by Chancellor from the Navy Department, and that McLaglen's fertile imagination supplied the rest of the background for his exaggerated claims. So it's interesting here because there's confirmation of Philip's position in the Naval Reserve at that time. So that's the add-on.